when I'm trying to develop something original, I'll look at what everybody else is doing. And then I'll stop and I don't care if I have to mind map or think about it, but I will think, what are they not saying? What are they not doing that is prevalent in today's society? How can I make this interesting? How can I say this in a voice which hasn't been done a million times already?
Yeah, I think emotional truth and authenticity is really important in drama. It's kind of like a non-negotiable, to
Right.
be honest with you. And I think also, like you were saying, you need to actually kind of pinpoint what hasn't been done or hasn't been said.
Yeah.
So, an obvious example then would be if you were writing a drama about an LGBT character, then 90% of stories about LGBT protagonists is a coming out story of some kind,
Right. Yeah.
or a transition story of some kind.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is why. Why is that always the case? Now, obviously, coming out stories and transition stories are incredibly meaningful to LGBT people, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is something that they always appear in. So, how about other stuff to do with their lives that isn't necessarily about that? It doesn't necessarily mean you even have to place the LGBT focus in, around them
Yeah.
necessarily. It could be to do with the time that they were living in and they're having to deal with prejudice, or it could be to do with something completely unrelated to their LGBT status, but other, is some sort of struggle that is made more difficult because they're LGBT,
Right.
or because it's part of their, it's because it's part of their community that other people haven't necessarily seen before, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's difficult. It is really hard to find something that is original and is something that's authentic and something that is true.
Yeah.
And that's why the ones that do it well are in demand and people love and respond to, because they can see the reflection of that real thing, that kind of je ne sais quoi, that perfection. We've kind of moved from a space in time where in writing you had to be accurate. You absolutely had to be. And if you weren't accurate, then you were a bad writer.
Right.
Now we're moving into this space where we say, if you're not authentic, you're a bad writer. So although accuracy is still important, it's maybe not as important as being emotionally truthful and authentic in some way.
I
So on that
agree.
basis, I would say that I love the new idea that kind of started. I think it started on Twitter. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's the first place that I noticed it anyway, was the idea of own voices stories. This idea that you are that person, you are an LGBT person or a black person or a woman or somebody who has been marginalized in some way,
Yeah.
and you are writing a story about that, and it's from your point of view, and you're using what you know to inform other people about this issue, and
Yeah.
that's called own voices story now. And I think those can be really, really powerful and really, really meaningful. Having said that, there are a lot of people who would, might be asked to write own voices, who would say, actually, no, I don't want to be a diverse writer. I don't want to write an own voices
Oh,
piece. Bo Yeon Kim, I hope I've said his name correctly, who works on Star Trek, did a really, really interesting thread a couple of years ago where they talked about how, they want to write genre pieces and they don't want to necessarily be put into this box
yeah.
where they have to be the Korean writer or
Right.
whatever. So I think making people write own voices stories can be an own goal as well. So I don't think we should. I think we should definitely have more of them, but I don't think we necessarily should make diverse writers. Diverse writers. I mean, what is a diverse writer? I don't even like that term. It's really
Yeah.
difficult to describe these things. But we shouldn't be putting people in boxes, is what I'm saying. We
No,
shouldn't
I
be
agree.
making people write to write. Having said that, own voices pieces are powerful, but equally, some of the best pieces as well have been written by people who have no personal experience of a certain issue. And yet they've written this amazingly powerful and emotionally truthful and authentic
Yeah.
piece about that thing. So I think it's possible to do either. When we say what, write what you know, you can either do as an own voices piece or as a massively well-researched piece
Yeah.
that isn't about you. You have to put your ego aside. I think a lot of writers don't do enough of that when they do research.